leadership. Today we're going to have a speaker out from Switzerland, and she'll be speaking on developing self-awareness and empathy. So we'll send out the link right away, and then we're going to be there. Okay, so just join us now. So we're going to have that right now, and then we're going to begin. Okay, good. Join in. Thank you so much. With you. Self. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm doing well. How about you? How you
I'm
doing?
good. So we managed to
Good.
like,
I think it works very well. Like, your first time it's really working well. So it's good.
yeah, it works brilliant. I'll just put
Okay.
a little bit of light around because I see that I'm pretty much
Okay, good.
pretty much flushed.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. So I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for accepting to speak. Thank you so much. And I know that a lot of people have really wanted to hear from you. Okay. So, okay, let's go. So could you please pronounce your name so that I don't make a mistake pronouncing your name?
So it's Ivona Hirschi.
What did you say?
It's Ivona Hirschi.
Oh, yeah, that's really hard, but it's fine. It's fine.
Hard. It's just Ivona.
Okay, good. Okay, so I speaking again, so we're speaking on developing self-awareness and empathy, and so Wilson lives the floor is yours now, so you can begin.
I can just begin. Oh my God, this is such a huge topic. Thank you so much for actually contacting me to speak about this because I know you run, this huge community of leaders or future leaders or already, being the career leader. So that's a really good topic, I think, because what I believe is that anyone can be a leader. And that means that you don't need a team really to have that leadership qualities. You can do it, whenever you are basically ready. And that's very important when you're starting your career, that you realize, okay, I can do it and I don't need a team for that. So that's like a base for self-awareness kind of. And what I noticed, when I do the leadership training, maybe you mentioned that I do training of press time managers as well. I noticed that often they're trying to find who is bad. And what I mean by that is that I hear people constantly complaining, saying, oh my God, my boss was angry and now I'm stressed. Or they say, oh my God, I don't like him anymore. I just don't want to work with him. Or they say, well, my pay is not fair and I would wish for more. Or, other things are like, oh, this was so rude and I just didn't like that. And what all these statements are having in common, it is that you're trying to find what or who is bad. So, when you enter your career, it's very likely that things are happening to you. No, because you simply don't have the experience. You just come out freshly from the university, and that it's always like, oh, there is the authority. I should try to prove myself. I don't have the saying. And that is some sort of victim mindset. Maybe you have heard that before. But a lot of young leaders, they really think, I can't say a word. No, I shouldn't complain, or I can't say no. And then you really slip into that very heavy kind of career-driven oriented goals. And obviously you're stressed, you're burned out, and you just don't know what else to do. And I can tell you that was my case too. Just a couple of years ago. You just work and you really want your career and you want to climb up, But then you realize, oh, okay, so I don't have a choice and I just have to work. But what self-awareness is doing is that it's giving you that choice. And that's super important to realize. So, when I said, oh, my manager is bad, maybe nowadays people would say, Generation Z is bad because they want more work-life balance. They don't work as fast or sharply as the other generation. So there's like a lot of blaming all the time. So when you tell to people self-awareness, they think like, okay, so what does that mean? And it's really like looking into yourself with your eyes and like realizing, okay, maybe it's not me versus them. It's rather like how I can work with different types of people better, or how I can improve myself, my behavior, because we really tend to judge very quickly. And, when you're young and motivated, then you are very quickly done with everything. So, of course, you meet, toxic bosses, you meet colleagues who are lazy. Maybe even nowadays, if you're still studying people at universities, you simply see that some teachers are bullying you, that other students are somehow slipping, and they don't do all the work. But what it should do to you is, okay, well, different people, they have different paths. But how does it affect you? No, so should you be angry about that? No, should you let people, make you feel unimportant? Or how you should really react? So even with bosses and your career, you always have the choice not to be angry, not to be stressed, and really say, okay, I can work overtime, but maybe next time I can't because I have other things to do, like my life, your partner, your family. You can say no, and you can always find a way how to communicate that. But you need to decide you will communicate that. So, self-awareness is kind of very much related to your self-confidence and how well grounded you are with yourself, and really realizing there is a choice. So that, I would say, it's the first step. And how you can physically do it. So I like to say, well, watch out your mood. So now, yeah, we have Saturday, it's evening, maybe you have party plan after, but we are still here, with Miracle, listening to each other, talking about self-awareness. So how does it make you feel? What is your mood? And obviously notice what mood other people have. How you can do it? By the way, how they talk. So now I'm trying to, educate you. So I'm trying to be a little bit positive, maybe a little bit formal, giving you examples. But maybe you are listening to me and you're like, okay, maybe she knows what she's talking about. Or maybe you think, oh, maybe she doesn't. And that's exactly what you are noticing. So what's your mood? And whenever you feel stressed, angry, and so on, you can find why. And when you know why, then you know the triggers. And then you are much more, again, self-aware, because then okay, if my boss is screaming at me, I might stop listening. And when that happens to you, then you can prepare for it. And that's very important, because whenever you can prepare, you can regulate it. And that's so, so fun to do. So remember, there's always some stuff that might not fit, into how you think, but don't judge too fast. Just try to deal with it. Try to find that proactivity. And instead of saying, I can't, well, look at it as like, oh, I maybe can, how I can do it. Or, instead of saying like, oh, he makes me so mad. So think, oh, okay, I still have to work with him. So how I can work with him without being mad? I just accept that that's how he is. No. And then you can find other ways. So you realize you don't have to be friends with everyone, but some level of respect is just so, so easy. And when you give it, you usually get it back. So instead of going around gossiping, saying, oh my God, Imona is horrible manager, I hate her. Well, maybe you say, well, maybe she could learn if she had some support, and you just keep it simple and you don't go against people. You're just kind to yourself and kind to other people. So that's really how self-awareness works. That first it's you, but then it's also other people, which leads me to empathy, because, we kind of had idea to merge self-awareness and empathy together because we felt like, oh, that's a really good idea, no? So how empathy fits into the topic. So listen, if you listen to yourself, you know how you feel. I can guarantee you that you might become better listener to other people too. How? Because when you read your mood, you might see, maybe from body language or from the tone, how other people talk. So other people can complain too, they can say, oh, I'm so down. I'm just so stressed. And then you already know, well, I've been stressed, so maybe I can help them. Maybe I can help them to set priorities or help them with capacity or whatever that can be. Or when people say, oh, this person drives me nuts, I just don't want to work with him at all. Then again, you can say, well, and think about how you can work better. You you are stuck with people. Most of the time, you can't choose your team or your manager. So what can you do to really like relax in that relationship? So one thing is realizing, okay, you shouldn't try to change people, but you should accept them and listen to them, because often we just judge too fast without really knowing. So now we are just meeting here and we don't know each other now. So you can judge pretty quickly me or you just by appearance or by how well my English is, for instance. But you don't know what is all happening in my life. And that's the same for school, for career. Everyone is going through so much stuff. It's just crazy just to judge by few statements you get or bad feedback. So, instead of that, like look at people as people. And although, it can be frustrating, it can be annoying, listen to them. Because I'm telling you, if you don't talk, someone will. And then it's very interesting, just to listen and give them that respect, compassion. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. You can just nod. Maybe, you say like, okay, I see this is difficult for you. And sometimes this is much more than if you're trying to help them or telling inappropriate joke, cheer them up. You don't have to do that. Sometimes it's really about listening. And in general, listening will give you so much more information, about yourself and other people, that you will progress even faster in your career because you know what people look for. So instead of going and saying, now I want to be a sales manager, give me criteria. Well, much better is to have coffee with some people who actually, do it. And they tell you, and then you just listen and then it's much more specific than abstract. So empathy is really, putting yourself into other shoes and even admitting you don't understand the situation. You say, well, I've never went through such a huge breakup like you. I can't imagine how much you suffer. Instead of saying like, oh, you'll meet another guy. That's fine. So listen and, think about empathy as a skill that you can practice. So it's not that, me as a woman, I'm much more empathetic than, for instance, Miracle's guy. It's such a horrible stereotype. No. If you will ever be in a team, then you will realize that you need empathy in general to work with anyone. You don't have to lead the team, but whenever you simply work in a team, you need to collaborate. And empathy is one of the ways how you can do it more efficiently. And for young leaders, very important. Like focus on that a great deal. Yeah. So that would be a few first thoughts about these two topics. I kind of, flooded you with information and examples.
Okay. Okay. So I think the other question that I have here, written here, and so this is it. So I'm about to relate to young people with leaders from different areas, chilling in school. So one of the questions which a student asked me was, is a leader and the same, how does he manage his weaknesses? And what is his weaknesses? The fact that he doesn't want to look weak on the outside, but so when people reach out to him trying to make him feel like he doesn't know what he's doing, he then ignores people. So now he's asking the question: how do I get to manage my weaknesses when it comes to having to be empathic towards people and knowing how to actually keep myself out?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, because what I say to leaders is that you're not trying to be perfect, because no one is. But of course, you can work on your weaknesses, and you can always articulate them. So one example from a recent training was that I had a manager who was very chaotic. No, he was just disorganized. He was constantly late on meetings. When he promised 3 things, he delivered 1 because he simply forgot. So, the thing I told him is, okay, I know you're chaotic, but let people know that it's simply the way how you are. So they expect that, and then they are like, okay, now I know he simply forgot. And they were much less frustrated. So you can say to your team, saying, it depends on the weakness, obviously, but in most of the times you can admit it. Say, hey, I don't know everything about this analytical stuff. Or, hey, I'm not such a good at programming. And when you say it, you realize that there are people who are actually better than you and they can help. So you don't have to do everything yourself. You can always delegate. And you can even say it about the soft skills. So another example is a manager who is appearing as arrogant. So he seems he doesn't listen. So look, he's here on a meeting, oops, and having like some, phone or something, and he's like making notes now. So he's doing that. Yeah, but he's making notes to be organized now, but the moment he's taking the notes, he doesn't listen. And then people feels like, oh, he's ignoring me. That's not the case. So the manager said, well, when I am taking notes, I'm not listening. So let's just give me that few seconds and then I switch on back. So you see, so those are little things that you can admit and they're perfectly fine. Of course, some people will maybe say, oh, that's bad weakness. They can always work on it. You can train yourself. And to be fair, I definitely say to leaders, try to leverage, your value and don't try to be perfect in each bucket. It's not necessary. That's why you have your team, because you work as organisms. So obviously it's a bit more difficult when you have like hierarchy. So there you have to be maybe more authority. And there maybe you don't want to look so vulnerable. But there are still ways how you can set the boundaries. And things are about, what are the roles. So even if you're not strong in one area, you can delegate it and say, hey, you are really strong at giving presentation. Can you pick up this one? And then you somehow hide it. You empower your team while still being, cool leader. So work with what you have and try to be creative. And sometimes admit it if you feel you have that space, that you have that trust. And sometimes, you can play a little bit with roles and so ask people here and there.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So the other question is, so in Africa, in West Africa, I would say West Africa, we lost a lot of faith in the political system, where we've lost a lot of faith in the political system. So when people come out making promises to the things and try to make people feel like, oh, we care about you. No, you've always done that. Everyone has always done that. Now, how can a leader who wants to make a difference in the political sector and make people feel the sincerity of their empathy towards the people that have lost faith over the years? How do you think they can resolve that?
Well, it's all about listening. No. So again, the empathy is not about giving false promises. It's not about, saying the future is bright, that, we all are going to do well in 5, 10, 15 years. You just have to be patient. And I know, with some political systems, this is often the case, that they just promise and then nothing happens and nothing happens. And then you somehow like brush it out and say, oh, okay, well, I remember I said it, but now the situation changed and so on. So I often believe, that people like only to be heard. So often when you just have a group of people and you listen to their problems, you don't have to really promise that you change it. But when you listen to it, you acknowledge that it's there. And the moment when you said that, people feel much more trustworthy towards you because simply you were there to listen. So obviously, with political situation, you need to be very conscious and realistic, and you cannot promise. And saying abstract words doesn't make sense. So first, I would say, well, really give that attention to people, really see what are the problems, and then if there is space for discussion somewhere where some stuff can be changed, then bring that discussion to relevant places. But don't just be with people and promise and saying like, yeah, I feel you, I'll change it. No, maybe you don't have, the power to change it. So false claims can be very dangerous in politics. I would be very conscious and rather focus on, I'm listening to you, I'm here to listen. I'll make sure that if I have a chance to have that discussion somewhere, I will do it. And that's pretty much what you can do if you don't have really the power to decide, which often, people don't have. It's usually a group of people, and then it's a discussion. So the continuous discussion with normal, people, or with people who suffer or who are interested, that's usually much more than just going around, having these promo meetings and just like, yeah, new leader is coming, and I'm the new young leader, and I'll do everything, and I'm not sure. I'll give you the vote, and in 4 years it changed.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Okay, so the other question is this: what would you, in simple terms, what would you say leadership is, and how would you make? Sometimes when you with a lot of young people in leadership, they only think it's more of an administrative job. They only think it's this, is that, and in simple terms, for a layman to truly understand what leadership is, what would you say leadership is in your terms, in your own way?
I can tell you one word: it's mindset. So leadership, there's so many resources, like great podcasts, great books, and you have also different types of leadership for each situation. So you can find like dozens of different definitions. But for me personally, with the stuff that I've been doing past 12 years already, it's all about the mindset. So, being able to work with yourself, with your emotions, and also to make sure that people are comfortable around you, that you help them, that you care about them, that you really think that you need to do stuff for their good. But also, obviously, when you are, at school or when you are employed, that you simply take responsibility for your decisions. And obviously, if you have team, it's also a responsibility for your team. So it would be mindset and being adult, basically, and take, that step and say, yes, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I consciously decided. Just as I spoke, at the beginning, people like being victims. They just say, oh, it's happening to me, and my team is bad, and my management is bad, and school is bad. My bachelor was bad because the person who was leading it didn't give me enough guidance, and so on. So there's always someone who's bad. And leadership is about admitting what you are doing to contributing that feeling. Maybe not studying hard enough, maybe not talking or listening to your team enough. So leadership always starts with yourself and with your mind.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Wow, thank you so much. So, another question before the last question, before we round up. So, I spoke to a friend some time ago, and she works in a company where she was just more like an internship. So she's not like internship, but she doesn't know about the culture in the company. So she's being taught. So now the boss is not around. So the boss delegated the responsibility to be taught to someone else. So now she says that whenever she's working, the lady is always sounding the sub boss that the other boss which was so keeps making her feel like she doesn't know. And she's saying that I'm new, I don't know all of these things, I don't know. So but she keeps treating her like, oh, you should know this, why don't you know this, why don't you know this, why don't you know this? She's asking, Miracle, how do I handle such a boss? How do I, because she feels like the environment is becoming very toxic. Because when she's not getting hot, she's not feeling like she's walking, she's feeling like she's having to show. When she sees the boss coming, she starts feeling like, oh, I don't want to. So how can she manage situations like that, such an environment like that, in a work culture?
Well, I can tell you that she should stop feeling stressed, because I suppose she has been around for a couple of weeks, maybe months in that internship. And, it can stress you. But I also see that they see potential, that they simply tell, well, you know that, which could be false expectation. And obviously you need to say, well, I don't know this yet. Where I can go to find it. So then it's more about, okay, it's difficult, but do I want to learn? Do I want to go through some stages and really be pushed around to see all different types of processes and work? So again, like coming back to mindset, it could be challenge that you accept and that you enjoy. Or it could be challenge that you say, oh my God, this is too much. and I don't want that now. And that's fine too, but that would make sense for her to say, well, I'm not going to finish this internship because it's simply not for me. I don't enjoy it. But again, you make that decision for yourself and you feel like, can I still do it? Can I still manage it? Am I enjoying it? Is this the path for me? And then when you answer that question to yourself, then you see, because again, you have the choice. You don't have to bear with bullying. If the manager is a little bit like, oh, you should know that. How come you don't know that? Well, my response would really be, well, I don't know that yet. Can you show me? Or can someone from the team show me? Or can I shadow you? See where are the opportunities to get that knowledge. And the moment you switch that conversation, then you see if the manager is a bully or if the manager is going to support you in a way. So again, it's all about communication. Don't be silent, don't just accept that they are just flooding you with tasks that you have no idea about, like I'll prepare this slide, send it to client, go here, go there. Sure, you can, but obviously if we don't know where, then you need to take it a little bit lightly and just say, okay, interesting. So I guess the task list for today is this I know, this I don't know, so who can help me? And really like network and find the resources around.
Wow. Thank you for that. I think she's actually listening right now, and she's also going to listen up again. So I think she's gotten the answer to that. So I think we'll conclude.
Let me connect us. I can talk to her directly to see like.
Oh, good. That makes sense. Exactly. Yeah, good. So I'll have to reach out to you. Vincent, we'll have to reach out to you. Okay. So the last question before we let you go now is, we'll ask our speakers. So in your experience so far, over 12 years, doing what you were doing, what's one thing that you want, in two ways? What would you want the younger person to understand about your journey so far on leadership, and what advice would you give to the young person from your journey so far on leadership?
So I would say that for a young person, it's very important to learn constantly. So, if you're studying at university, if maybe you are having internship, to really keep your mind open and don't say now I am junior analyst and my next step is a senior and then the manager. No, keep your mind open, because the more you learn from different projects, then you simply know what you really like. So, go over your job description, accept challenging stuff at university, like go to student clubs, start a podcast, start your distinct leadership, like whatever time, and obviously basically whatever investment you can make into your into your education, then it's good. So educate yourself and don't just say I want to be a doctor and that's the end goal, because you never know, you can maybe start working in pharmacy, maybe go to audit. Like the path of career is not straight and it's definitely not vertical, so it's rather horizontal nowadays. And the more transferable skills you have, like the better you make decisions. So really like look at your career now. You're young and you're starting, but it doesn't mean that you just have to go to corporate, and do just You can start your own business. You can go to non-profit. Like there's a lot of ways. And again, coming back to the statement I told you a few times, like there is a choice. No. So you're young, so see that you have so many opportunities and try to pick up the right ones. Obviously, it can change with time. But I'm telling you, if you're just starting your career, just go for any challenge, even if you don't know anything about it yet. You just learn so much. That's fun. That's like the best.
Wow. Thank you so much, Beth, for that. So I think we've come to the end of the section, and then so I want to give an opportunity to any of our viewers who will ask a question. Just one question. We don't want to take too much of our time before. And so I want to say, while we're waiting for a question, if there is, I want to say thank you very much for accepting this invite. And we're hoping to have you physically one day in Nigeria, in Africa, where you come speak to us physically one day. Looking forward to that time.
I hope.
Yeah, very fun. Yeah, it will be fun. I'm really happy that, one of the reasons why I reached out to you was because, I looked through your content and I saw that this is really unique. And, we have young people that could learn from you. And that's why I said, we need to have you here to speak to us. And then we're also going to upload this on YouTube so other people can as well.
No, it's it's brilliant. I mean, I love supporting young people. It's always fun, and yeah, so great ideas, and also that you just have the drive, to learn and to like talk to people who might have been already burned out in the corporate, and you simply collect some ideas. So that's very helpful. For sure. Also spreading the knowledge about, how it is with education in Nigeria. I had no idea. Now I know a little bit more. So that's interesting also for me culturally to understand that.
Well, thank you so much for that. Really grateful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna let speaker leave now. So before we leave, I want to say two people saying thank you, or one person saying thank you before she goes. If I don't say thank you, I won't let her go. So we'll say thank you first, so we'll let her go.
No, thank you for this chance, and
Okay, so let's just say thank you. So I'll just say thank you, and then I'll just go to let her go. Okay, I think. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Let me say on behalf of everyone, thank you so much. Really grateful. Thank you so much, myself and
thank you. So have a good evening, and thank you, for spending half an hour on Saturday.
Okay. Okay, bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.